Hi, this is Lainey from Camp Joy Farms. This is Wednesday, February 2nd, and I've got English peas on my mind, specifically Little Marvel English peas. That's what I've chosen to put on row 3 of my upper garden. I'm going to have 70 feet of those English peas, double row planted. So it was on my mind because our weather was warming up. It's 74 degrees out here right now. It just feels wonderful. Yesterday it kind of misty rained, just enough to kind of get your soil a little moist to be able to accept some seeds, but not so rainy that, it made the soil really soggy. So today would be the perfect day to get out here and plant those English peas, except anytime you're going to be doing gardening, you have to look at the weather coming up. And it's a good thing I did because we have terrible weather coming. Starting tonight, a little bit of chance of rain, but after midnight, the chance shoots up to 50%. We're supposed to have heavy rains coming in to Louisiana. I think it's a part of this whole storm system that's moving across Texas and everywhere else that's probably going to get a whole lot worse north of us. But we're going to get some of it. And it looks like they have heavy rain moving in all day tomorrow, up into the 90% chance of rains. They even have some warnings already going out that it could be potential flooding type rains, which I hate. Our house doesn't flood, but I always hate it for the people that live in low-lying areas, or you might think you don't live in a low-lying area around here, but sometimes the ditches will get stopped up or the rivers will really go up high quickly and things can just get out of hand. So I'm hoping and praying that'll all be okay. But it's supposed to be terrible rain all day tomorrow, which would be Thursday, and that's supposed to kind of continue all the way through after midnight Friday night. And then it starts turning into wintry mix. So it's only showing that the temperature is going to get down to 33, and then really only for an hour or two, and then it's supposed to be 34, 35 or whatever. But all the different hourly things on my weather app say wintry mix. So I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes Friday. We might just be sitting here covered with ice Friday. The weird thing is we had even one night where we got down in the 20s, but I have not had any frost at my house. I don't know if I'm just an anomaly out here, but I haven't had any frost. Now, Danny and Wanda from Deep South Homestead live in Mississippi and I live in Louisiana. But, as the map goes, we live straight across from each other. And they have already had several really bad freezes. They've been worrying to death about the things in their tunnel, and I don't blame them. But I don't know why we have not had one bit of frost or ice at our house. None of the little pooling little places where the rain pools, none of that is frozen. No ice on the ground. I walk out in the morning and all the grass is just, fine. There's no ice on it. Now our grass has went from green to brown, so it's cold enough to do that to the grass, but have not had any frost. So I don't know if that's good, bad, or what we have coming, maybe just a whole lot worse than the little frost. So by Friday we could just be covered in a sheet of ice. So can't plant peas, because if you plant those green peas when you're expecting a deluge of rain followed by wintry mix, either of the two, doesn't really matter. If you plant your seeds in the ground, they will probably just turn to complete mush, especially with a heavy rain followed by a freeze. I don't want to waste my seeds. I've already figured it out, and it's going to take a lot of seeds to do a 70-foot row of English peas. So I don't want to waste my seeds. So I'm going to be patient, and I'm going to plant them watching the weather, hopefully next week. If this wintry mix thing blows through and clears up this weekend, and then we go into next week with some dry weather predicted and things like that, you have to watch it. But maybe next week I can get out here and plant those. They always say, wait till you can work your soil. Wait till the soil is not frozen anymore. Well, we haven't had that at all. My soil is wonderful. I could walk out here right now and just plant in it, looking at it right now. But I'm having to be patient. But I did do one thing. I don't like to waste time. It's not raining today. It's going to be raining maybe by this evening, but it's not raining now. And I don't like to waste any time. So I thought, what could I do? So I'm just thinking things through. So here's what I decided to do. I'm going to be planting those English peas on row 3 over here, which I've already rowed up. And what I did was, might seem simple, but I went ahead and put some little bamboo sticks. These things are so skinny and they just look like they're so cheap, but they're not. They're very tough. This is probably the 3rd season I've used these in my garden. I put one every 10 feet. I just walked it off. No, you don't have to measure, but I put one about every 10 feet all along this row. This one's a little taller. I have them all different sizes. But anyway, the reason I did that is I'm going to put some string. I'm not going to put it now because I don't want it to hit me in the head every time I'm planting a seed when I'm planting. But once I get things planted, maybe even once they come up, I'm going to put some string and string it from post to post, you know, all along here, tie it real well. And that way it'll support the plants. I planted Little Marvel English peas last year and I loved them. But they always say that they don't have to be trellised, that they're a bush type pea. Well, they are a bush type pea. They do only grow, you know, a couple of feet high at the most, and they're round. They don't just, you know, have little tendrils that just climb and want to go up, 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 up. But I found that they will flop over after a while. I found that when they fill up with peas, especially, which you want them to do, the branches get really heavy and they will just fall over. So last year I was harvesting some of my peas off the ground. You know, I was having to bend over really far. And the thing is with these peas, maybe with most peas, but I just remember it from last year, is they're very prolific. That's why I'm growing them again this year. They're very prolific, but they're hard to see. It's like you might think you don't have a lot of peas on that bush, but then when you start turning it around or picking it up off the ground to look under it and everything, it might just be full of peas. So I want to try, you know, to make it a little easier on myself and make it a little easier to harvest. And so I'm going to put string along these little posts. No need for T-posts, no need for a bunch of netting and things like that. Just put little string along these T-posts tied really well. And that way when the bushes get a certain height or when they start getting heavy and they look like, you know, they could topple over or something, I just kind of have a little place I can go, you know, just lay a few branches, kind of flop them over this string. And I just feel like that'll keep them up, keep them out of the mud, keep them off the ground, and keep me from having to bend all the way to the ground or sit on the ground or whatever to harvest all these peas. It's just something I'm trying to think of ahead of time. Anything I can get done when the weather's decent, you know, that's what I want to do. So that's what I did. I put the sticks in the ground. I'm going to save the string for later. Not going to do it today. I'll do it later. And then I'm going to go inside and I'm going to get my peas out and go ahead and count out what I need because it's a good many. I'll explain that to you in a minute. I decided before I go inside that I'm going to do a little soil test. So I just put this in the ground. I have to wait 3 minutes. So I'm just curious to see what my pH is on this garden, and I'm going to compare it to what it was when I did my pH test. Shoot, that was probably a couple of months ago. I'll have to check the date. But I'm going to check that in just a minute because I did that liming, so I want to kind of see if it's in a good range for peas. Okay, after waiting 3 minutes, it looks like it's at 6.7. Well, my second reading is just below 7. This is in the middle of my row. I'm going to do another one at the end of the row and just see what's going on. Don't want it too high, so I need to check this. Okay, the reading at my 70-foot mark is pretty much on the 7, almost to the T. So I'm going to have to go look in my book and see kind of what the average pH range is. Okay, well, I'm back inside and I've been doing a little bit of homework. My pH levels out there were 6.7, a little below 7, I guess you would call it 6.9, and 7. So the last two that I took in the middle of the area of the row and at the end of the row were a little higher than I would want it to be. I was looking online and one website said, it was a whole website all about Little Marvel English peas. It said anywhere from a 5.5, which to me is pretty low, all the way up to a 6.7. So my first reading would fall into that, but the second two would be a little bit high. Now I got out my Johnny's catalog. I had told everyone that I really do use Johnny's catalogs as a reference. And so when I was doing those pH tests outside, you know, I came in and got my Johnny's catalog to see what it had to say. Now it says ideal is 6.5, which makes more sense. That 5.5 sounds extremely low, but I'm no expert on all this. You know, I'm learning with everyone else. But Johnny's catalog sounds a little bit more reasonable to me. But they say the pH needs to be 6.5 to 6.8. So that makes me feel good because it does go to that, like I had a 6.9 reading, you know, that's not so far off. Even that 7 is probably going to be fine. So I'm moving forward with it, of course. There's really nothing you can do. When you have low pH readings, you can lime your soil and do some other things to bring that pH up. But when you have a high pH reading, it's a little bit harder to get it to go down. And I'm like a week away from planting, depending on the weather and watching that. So I certainly don't want to have to do anything rash right now to bring my pH down. I think it's going to be fine. I was looking at my little paper that I did a few months ago. Maybe it might not quite be 2 months ago. And I think I've come a long way. If you look at my notes, this is where my high tunnel was going to be. It's not there anymore. So actually this goes down here now. This is a garden down here. There's no tunnel, but I do have a garden. So my first reading was actually about like right here. Now I didn't have a reading technically on that soil before because I thought my tunnel was going there, so I didn't take it that far. But I assume it probably would have been the same as these readings. I had a 5.8 for some, I think it started raining, so I didn't do that particular corner. I had a 5.6, 5.75, 5.7. So you see all of those were below 6. So I'm going to assume that more soil that came back this way later, you know, was around in there. Even if it was a little over 6, it was probably still low. So my first reading I took today was from about right here. It was 6.7. The second reading was about right here. It was 6.9. Still very much better than these were. The third reading was from about right here, which used to be 5.6, and now it was 7. So I think I'm okay with it. I'm at peace with those numbers, and I'm just going to go forward with it. I think with good irrigation and with kind of being patient and planting it at the right time, I'll be okay. The reason I chose Little Marvel peas to plant this year is because I did plant them last year and they did so good. I had planted Thomas Laxton peas in the past, and they were beautiful. The leaves are beautiful. The tendrils are beautiful. They're just a blessing to grow. But they are more of a vining pea. You have to have some netting or some slats of string and all for them to grow up on and grab onto. The Little Marvel peas were just easier because they are more of a bush type pea. And so I decided, you know, I'm going to stick with that. And the co-op had plenty of Little Marvel peas earlier, a few months back when I went. So I was able to get those. What I'm going to do right now is count them out. I'm not going to bore you with watching me count out all these seeds because it's a lot, but I wanted to explain to you how I figure out what I'm going to plant. I have a 70-foot row, and if you take 12 inches to a foot and you multiply that out, it comes out to 840 inches. Now, peas you want to plant about every 2 inches. Sometimes they'll say 2 to 3 inches. You can do whatever you want. I go ahead and plant every 2 inches because sometimes the germination rate on English peas is not that great. I'm not sure why, but sometimes they're not near as good as on, say, a bush bean or a pole bean or something like that. So if you take 840 inches and you divide that by 2, because you're only planting every 2 inches, you come out with 420 seeds. However, I'm doing a double row. It's one single row going down my garden, but I'm going to put a row of peas on each side of that single row. So I'm back to, if I say 420 times 2, I'm back to 840 seeds. So that's what I'm going to be counting out right now. I have one bag from the co-op, which has the treatment on it that treats the seeds to help them against soil-borne diseases and different things. I'm going to use these seeds first. First of all, it'll save me a step, which I'm going to tell you in just a minute. But second of all, I'm pretty sure there's about that many seeds in here, you know, but I'm going to count them in just a second. I'm going to see if there's at least 840 in there. If I have to roll to my second bag, it'll be these right here. These are not treated. These are the ones I grew last year and they did great, so I'm not worried about it. They're not treated. If I do have to treat them, what I'm going to do is I have this inoculant. You can see there it's called for peas, vetch, and lentils. It's some inoculant that I got from Johnny Seeds a few years ago. I'm not going to open it. It's kind of like baby powder. It'll just poof out everywhere. So I'm not going to waste it and open it. But all you do is, if the treated ones, I'll just soak by themselves. The untreated ones, if I have to roll into this bag, I will soak in a bowl And then the next morning when I'm getting ready to go plant, I'll drain off all the water. I'll just take a little spoonful or two of the inoculant, put in there with the peas, and put a lid on the bowl and just shake it. And that's all you have to do. It kind of coats those seeds with that inoculant, and you can go out and plant them, and it'll kind of protect them a little bit from things that could attack them in the soil. So that's what I'll do. Let me count these seeds and I'll show them to you at the end. I'm hoping I have plenty in this bag of the treated seeds. Okay, that's 850 seeds. I had plenty in this bag. You see how many I had left? So I had plenty in that bag. So I'm very happy. I had plenty of seeds in that one bag, all treated. I'm gonna put a lid on this Tupperware. I'm gonna set these aside. I've already got them counted. The day I'm ready to get out there and plant, I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm not really gonna worry about inoculating these or anything. I will soak these. I think it's a good idea to soak your peas overnight before you plant them. So I am gonna soak them, but that's about it. I can't wait to plant Little Marble English peas. I'm ready for the spring to be here. I have to get through a little wintry mix ice event, I guess it looks like, before I can get there. So anyway, I hope everybody else is planting their garden. I hope you're getting excited. I hope you're getting your seeds organized and getting everything ready. It's time. It's fixing to be time to rock and roll. This is Lainey from Camp Joy Farms. Please subscribe and join my channel and follow me. And we're going to have a great time gardening this year. You have a good day. Bye-bye.